Welcome to another episode of Erasing Shame. We're so glad you could join us. And my co-host, Maylee Chang, is here. Welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
Awesome. And she has some brand new news to share with us. Did I introduce myself? I'm DJ Chuang. And we've been talking about our continuing exploration about various aspects of shame. And with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas, we certainly have a lot to talk about into going back into that family environment. But before we get into that, Maylee recently got married.
Yes.
And now she has a new home. And so tell us a little bit about that experience. What's it been like? We've given you a few weeks off, and so happy to have you back, and it's beginning to add new eyes to how you're seeing life.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I love it. We love it, definitely, but also very hectic. Just new things that I've never done before, and also in our family. So what's interesting is, when you're married, you have a different title from every member of the family, depending on which side you're on. And so that was also very fun and interesting, because sometimes somebody would address me and then I'd sit there, oh, you're talking to me, hi. Yeah, so that's been fun as well. Yeah, we definitely love it.
So what is your new title, and how do you address your in-laws?
Well, I am Nya, that's daughter-in-law. And then my in-laws, I just call them mom and dad. It's
great.
It's strange. I've never called anybody else mom and dad. So still trying to get used to that. We're both getting used to that, and still a little awkward. Yeah.
Well, I've been married 23 years now. And as I think about my times coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas around family, I still have not figured out a better way to address my in-laws. So I still address them as Dr. Wu and Mrs.
Okay.
Which is way too formal.
Yeah.
Which is what anybody could address them as. And I'm kind of like, well, I'm in a relationship, and I'd like to get a little closer, but I don't think I'll ever get to mom and dad.
Yeah, I think for us it's cultural. It's appropriate and respectful. And so it's almost like a immediate expectation. But I haven't really, I tried it once. Yeah, but it's more so, hi, how are you?
Well, I hope the relationship is good, and that it will be a endearing term as you're getting to know each other grows.
Yeah. So as we're talking about the holidays too, now
so what are you have new holiday plans now, I'm sure.
Yeah, extra holiday plans. We've been together, so we've attended each other's holidays in the past, but I think being married adds another level of, okay, now we really have to, it's an obligation. And yeah, but it's so much fun. His family's so great, and mine too. And so we love being with our families. Could get hectic, but yeah. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, so what are your plans? And then I'll share with you mine.
What are our Thanksgiving, definitely. Starting this weekend. And then on his side of family, our side of family. What's interesting is, for my families anyway, and some of the Hmong families, everybody wants Thanksgiving at their house. And so typically, sometimes we'd have like 5 or 6 Thanksgivings throughout the entire week, or sometimes we'll have like 3 breakfast, lunch, dinner. So it could be a little exhausting. Yeah.
That sounds great.
This year, I think we only have like 3. Yeah.
That sounds great. This one year, I remember we had this gigantic Thanksgiving. Instead of having 6 different Thanksgivings with different people, we just brought them all together.
That's a really good idea. We've tried that too. And then there's extras.
So hospitality is a big thing for the Hmong culture.
Yes.
So getting to have it in their own home is a lot more meaningful than going out to a restaurant or just being together.
Yeah. Definitely.
Very neat.
Yeah.
And between you and what's your husband's name?
Kember.
Okay, Kember. So between you and Kember, Who's going to be doing more cooking, you think?
Okay, so it would have to be Kendra
Okay, that's all right.
to cook in the home. He's really good at it, and yeah, I'm
Great,
trying. I'm gonna
great.
cook too, but it won't be as good.
Yeah,
How about
cool.
you? How about your family?
Yeah, so this year, well, traditionally, like for most of our married life, we would split the holidays. So if Thanksgiving was with my in-laws, then Christmas would be with my parents, or vice versa,
Mm.
because my parents are in Maryland near Washington, D.C., and then my in-laws are about a 40-minute drive north in Huntington Beach, and we live in Aliso Viejo. So that has been the routine for most of our years. This year, we have only decided on Thanksgiving, and we haven't decided on Christmas yet. So we're not long-term planners. So for Thanksgiving, we're going to be hosting it at our son's apartment, which is near Biola University, where he goes to school. And this is his last semester, so he'll be graduating next month. And we wanted to have Thanksgiving there because we wanted to invite some of his friends from school that are international students, and they're kind of stuck here in America instead of being able to go back to their home country. So we wanted to give them a Thanksgiving experience, and being at my son Jeremiah's apartment would be a closer reach for them. And then we get a new place to do it. And we also will celebrate my father-in-law's birthday because it falls on the same day. So we'll probably do a traditional American Thanksgiving.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun.
So that's turkey and green bean casserole and cranberry stuffing. Oh, what else? Sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. That's my favorite. And not just because it's orange, but
I was going to ask.
um, yeah. So when I think of the holidays, it brings quite a bit of mixed emotions. It used to be harder for me to manage when I was younger. And then over the years, as I've learned to self-care and to respond better to my triggers, it's become a better and enjoyable experience over the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a traditional Chinese family, and so shame is often used in Asian contexts as a motivator for proper behavior.
Mm. And that seems to come up a lot during holidays.
Yes. So just talking with other people in my experiences, I've heard like old memories will still be brought up again to describe your character flaws and kind of weaponized against you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting.
Oh, so for example, I'm trying to think of something innocuous. Oh, that's our uncle so and so, and he's always late.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely when no matter how old we get, when we're with family, it's always, okay, here we go again. It's kind of fall back into a lot of the dynamics that, that we've grown up in, and it's just been ingrained in us. And so that definitely comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think for my, for my family, I think just the whole bicultural aspect and of growing up, I think over the years, the way we celebrate has somehow evolved, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but I think for us, we've always celebrated with the church. It was what we did. It was like a communal, entire church celebration. And then we've transitioned to more of let's do that too, but then we're going to do family too. And so I think a lot of my memories, I think in a way that's good, is of the church, when, we celebrate Thanksgiving. And so it's a joyous time. But definitely when we're together, or for my family, it's just me, my mom and dad. And grandma and grandpa was there at that time too. Grandpa's still here, but we typically don't really we just join our cousins. And so I think I feel like we haven't had a lot of dynamics of, feeling negative towards each other. I think maybe the shame or negative emotions that might be evoked is, okay, oh, wow, your dish is not that good. You're not,
There you go.
this needs this a little bit more, Asian parents tend to be a little bit more blunt and critical. Like, is this supposed to taste like this? So definitely for me, because I'm not a good cook, that comes up. And then I feel slightly ashamed, not a lot, but, and then it comes back to feeling like, okay, I wasn't doing it right, or I need to do it better, so some of that stuff lingers. And so I think being married, and then going into the holidays, and then having to like bring dishes, sometimes I do get a little bit self-conscious, but I think over the years I've learned to handle that and to be okay. Yeah. And if somebody doesn't like the dish, it's okay. If they say something, just laugh it off, make it a joke. So yeah, that's how I'm planning to handle it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are American foods?
I'm sorry, you cut off a little bit there. Say that again.
Yes, I saw that we got cut off. So are American dishes like green bean casserole welcomed?
Yeah, we have. So, for example, last year we had a huge Thanksgiving where we had to divide it into two sections. So we did the Asian section and the American section. And then some of us, it was hilarious because there was so much food. I mean, literally, it was like a zigzag line of food. And so we kept telling each other, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the Asian. And then when I'm done with the Asian, I'll do my American, or I'll do the opposite. And anyway, yeah, so there's going to be both. Everything's welcomed because it's food and we love food. So, yeah. How about you?
One of the ways we get around the cooking thing is we look for easy dishes to cook.
Okay.
Because neither Rochelle or I are particularly known as cooks or chefs. But I do enjoy eating, so I'm jealous and envious of those that have the Asian fusion mix for Thanksgivings and Christmases. Once in a while, we get invited to someone else's Thanksgiving, and they have the full buffet with the Asian and American, but most of the time we wind up with just American.
Yeah.
Well, good. So that's a little bit about our own holiday experiences. Let's spend a few minutes and share a bit about other people we interact with. So you're a therapist, so you interact with all kinds of people, and then you're very active in a church community, the Hmong community, as well as the Thai community. I believe you speak multiple languages. And I used to be a pastor, and I network a lot, so I'm connecting with a lot of people across the Asian American spectrum. So what are some recurring themes that you notice that have been challenging during the holidays, especially when it relates to shame?
I think it's definitely having high expectations of ourselves, and then having those idealistic expectations not met by ourselves, whether if it's finances or inability, and also not just self-expectation, but, things that family would say to shame you. And so that's definitely recurring, I'm sure, for everyone, everywhere, every situation, but that's definitely been talked about a lot. And at times, I think depending on the health of your family and maybe trauma or lack of, growing up in your family of origin, that impact is definitely big when holidays come. And it's interesting because for me, holidays are kind of like this lab to display your so much emotions and display your shame and what that looks like. And if we're more prone to shame too, it definitely comes out a little bit more during a holiday. But those are some, recurring themes. And, people have dealt with it differently. Some people choose to go with the flow, right? Others have chosen to disengage. Yeah, so, but it can be such a joyous time and then a painful time for others as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one of the holidays where one of my cousin-in-laws had their boyfriend over to join us for a holiday meal. And he was enjoying the time at our dinner so much because his own family dynamics are so dramatic, because he's in a mixed family situation, and there's been other behaviors that have not been healthy in and around him. And so it's a very painful and sad times when holidays come. And so it's too much drama is the way he described it. And it's nice to come to a dinner where there isn't that drama. And then for those of us that are part of this family, we feel like, oh, we've got so many things that we have to avoid talking about because people are sensitive to different things, whether that's politics or religion or education or family.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting. It's fascinating to me that we have our own ideal, and then when we see someone else's Thanksgiving or Christmas, we wish we could be there.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that all of our families have quirky dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
and there are things that most of our families have topics that we cannot talk about, partly because of shame, because shame is hiding.
Right. Yeah. And so what's interesting is that, you kind of nailed it. We all struggle. Some of us just make it look better.
Mm,
And granted, some dynamics are better than others, but there's, definitely struggles there. And to just talk about it, right? To even us conversing right now in front of the world about our families, that itself, can be healing, and just hey, this is normal. It's not perfect, because I think if we don't talk about it in our heads, it's like everyone else seems like they're perfect, and I wish I was like that. I wish we were like that, but there's always struggles. Yeah.
well, so as we wrap up, you're a professional therapist, so I'm going to lean into some of your
Sure.
expertise here. What are some 3 or 4 tips that you can offer as encouragement for
Yeah.
those of us in our audience, both listeners and viewers? What are some things they can keep in mind as they go into especially challenging family situations?
Yeah. I think if you know what you're walking into, be very prepared. You can,
Mm,
you know, role play the situation in your mind, think through different ways in which you can handle certain individuals in your family, come up with plan B, just so your family could still celebrate. Um, and then definitely, being true to yourself. and not just going with the flow, or being obedient and, you know, making everybody happy, but being true with your emotions, and setting boundaries for yourself and your family, you know, during the holidays, would be very beneficial. We didn't get to talk about Christmas much, but I think when that comes as well, learning to communicate, you know, for some families, it's definitely harder to communicate, but if you're struggling financially, be honest with yourself. We don't have to please people. Communicate that you are struggling. You know, find different ways to celebrate. You know, so one thing that my small group women and I do every year is, because we spend so much money on family and everyone else, and so for us, we've been doing a closet exchange. And then all the leftovers, we just donate them. And that's been really fun and meaningful, because I'll be wearing a piece of jewelry and throughout the year. And then I would think about my friend, or, oh, actually, you know, it's funny that I'm talking about that. The shirt is one of my friends that we did at a closet exchange. Chow, thank you, Chow. I'm going to make her watch this. Yeah, so just having different ideas to celebrate, and yeah, not being pulled into the pressure of materialism. I think what's interesting about the American culture is that we've created this like idealistic, materialistic culture of like celebration, and then we all feel like we have to buy the best gifts, you know, have the prettiest decorations. And so I think allowing ourselves to be okay with not having those things to maybe give us fulfillment would be helpful with that shame piece. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's the I'm glad you brought up Christmas, because not only around the holidays you have the family dynamics, because you're going back into old relationships,
Right.
especially family of origin.
Right.
So there's a lot of long memories, and Asians are great at keeping long memories. And then there's that whole gift giving aspect. That's right. And so the whole gift giving aspect opens up a whole nother dimension of how we relate to each other. And especially, I think, in Asian contexts, the tangible things of giving gifts and acts of service hold so much more meaning than just words and conversation. And so I can recall some Christmas memories where I gave an okay gift, and then one of my other relatives outgifted me, and then I feel a little embarrassed, and
yeah,
I'm more generous.
Yeah, and yeah, like especially in those situations, to be okay with it. You know what? I gave. It's okay. Yeah, but preparing ourselves, emotionally.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Yeah.
And you'll get to enjoy the holidays as a wife, a newly wedded wife. And I hope that gives you new opportunities to relate to both your parents and your in-laws and other relatives.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Great. We'll talk again before Christmas. And you have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right. You too. All right.
Okay. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for joining us again. We'd love to hear from you. Ping us at erasingshame.com, and we're on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, wherever you'd like to connect. And happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.